So Dina has a very unique playstyle in No Return. She's the type of character that I think you need to be really on your toes and kind of just constantly thinking about your next move if you want to do well with her, which can often make her very, very difficult to play. So today we're going through the ultimate Dina guide when it comes to No Return. Now, Dina's playstyle is referred to as a crafting playstyle. She starts with a revolver as well as some crafting parts, and that is going to come in very, very handy. So I'll get to that in just a second. Now, her traits are that she gets the trap mine recipe, the stun bomb recipe as well, and then she also gets the double craft upgrade branch, and I'll dive a little bit deeper into that later on as well. Now, like I mentioned, she starts with some crafting parts, which is, as far as I know, the only character in the game to actually do so. And these are actually all of the required items to make one med kit, as well as either one stun bomb or one trap mine right off the bat before you've even started the first encounter. So you can go in there with one med kit and one of the stun bomb or trap mine, which is very rare because most people, you kind of have to go in with just your starting weapon, and most other characters don't actually have any other spare items. Now, also similar to Ali, she actually starts with a knife too, which can give you pretty decent hand-to-hand combat provided you are constantly dodging attacks. So don't just spam it, you want to kind of get in a few hits, dodge their next attack, and then get a few hits in again, and essentially just repeat that until you get the kill. But not only does it give you the ability to do that, it also allows you to take out clickers in stealth, which is very handy, and that is something that not every character can actually do. Every character can do it once you've got like an axe, for example. Stuff like that can take out clickers in one hit, but there are not that many characters who start with the potential to actually take out a clicker straight away. So use that to your advantage. Like I said, not everyone else can actually do that. Now, on top of starting with that knife, like I said, she does start with the revolver as well. Most other people just start with the regular semi-auto pistol, but Dina having the revolver is also very handy. It deals a fair bit more damage than the regular pistol, and so it can come in very clutch in tight situations. It can often be a one shot to the body depending on the type of enemy, even on those higher difficulties. So it kind of requires you to be a lot less accurate, and in general it is just pretty damn fun to play with. The only downside to the revolver is that there is obviously no way to silence it like you can with the semi-auto pistol, so it's not very good in terms of stealth, but it is more, I guess, powerful when it comes to being just a lifesaver than the regular pistol. Now, to counter the lack of stealth in terms of the revolver though, Dina is actually able to buy a bow in the trading post, which is obviously very clutch when it comes to playing stealthy, but on top of that you can also buy the arrow recipe in the trading post too, which just means you can constantly craft arrows when you need them, provided you are picking up enough resources. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are enjoying the video so far and you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is plenty more No Return content on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, touching on the last point that I made there in terms of picking up enough resources, it is super important as Dina to focus on gathering those resources. You obviously should be doing that with everyone. You pretty much want to pick up anything that you can, but with Dina, it is definitely more of a priority considering how much better she is at crafting. It is obviously her main strength, and so you should absolutely make the most out of that and be just constantly picking up those items. On top of that too, you should often be in the middle of a round, obviously depending on what it is, not so much if it's hunted, because you will probably die, but if you can get to a hidden location, it is also worth actually crafting mid-round and then being able to pick up more items, because like I said, the more items you've got, the better that is for Dina. She has a lot more recipes than most other characters, and therefore you can essentially just create more items with Dina than you can with pretty much anyone else. Now, something that will definitely help you when it comes to picking up those resources is a setting called the auto pickup setting. Now, this is something you definitely want to be turning on. To be honest, I would probably just turn this on in general and run it for every single character, but especially when you're playing as Dina, like I said, those resources are so much more useful in her hands because she can create so much more than everyone else. And having the auto pickup setting turned on means you will pretty much just pick up every single item in your vicinity. For those who don't know how it works, instead of having to press triangle to pick up each item that you see, literally just going anywhere near those will just automatically pick them up. So this is very, very helpful for Dina, and like I said, it's kind of just helpful for everyone. I understand not everyone's going to want to play that way because it is kind of removing an element of the game, but I would definitely say for Dina, it is absolutely worth doing. Now, I also highly recommend spending as much as you can afford on buying the different crafting recipes that are available in the trading post. The more items you can craft, the better. She does obviously start with a few recipes already, but if those are the only things you can craft, then you're not really maximizing her strength as much as you could be. So having more options is definitely something that will help you when it comes to playing as Dina. Now, another good way to achieve that outside of just buying these in the trading post, because obviously if there is a really good weapon there, you probably do still want to prioritize that. But another really good way to get those crafting recipes is actually doing the dead drops, as you will often be rewarded with a recipe rather than a weapon, for example, or hell, even if it gives you a weapon, then that is obviously still great, and it saves you money to spend on other recipes instead of having to buy that weapon at the trading post. So when it comes to Dina, I definitely feel as though the dead drops are kind of more useful for her than they are for any other character. Like I said earlier too, these are definitely worth doing with everyone, but for her it just feels like it is a little bit more crucial in that you can often get the extra recipes, and then that opens up your crafting even more, which obviously is Dina's strength. Now, I should note as well that it is absolutely worth upgrading her double craft upgrade path, as the first tier of that path actually allows you to turn stun bombs into smoke bombs, which will still stun the enemies and pretty much work in the exact same way that they do when they're just stun bombs. But then they also just add a smoke screen that can actually block the enemy's line of sight, and this is really, really good for staying stealthy. If you have some of these spare and you find yourself in a pinch, you can pretty much just throw these at your enemies. It's going to stun the one that it hits and then obviously create a bit of a smoke screen, at which point you can obviously slip out and escape and just get back to your hiding spot, which can often result in returning to that sort of stealth mode where the enemies don't know where you are. And with a character like Dina, where she isn't like this, you know, gung-ho hero like a lot of the other characters, getting into stealth is definitely very, very helpful. And realistically, that is the best way to play her alongside crafting, is just simply being stealthy. Overall, Dina is definitely a very unique character to play. You've got to make use of everything rather than kind of relying too much on stealth or strength or weapons, for example. You've got to be very crafty and just pretty much use all sorts of different strategies, which definitely makes her very fun to play, although it can be very difficult if you are starting out. And with a bit of practice, I do think she can be really solid. You just have to play the right way, making use of every single thing at your disposal. But anyway, guys, that is it for some of the best tips and tricks when it comes to playing as Dina. If you guys have any other tips, be sure to leave them down in the comment section as well. And make sure to keep your eyes peeled for all of the other character guides as well. There is going to be a guide for every single character in No Return, so make sure you don't miss out. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.